Hello, and welcome to I Am Here in Practice. I am Santina, and this podcast is a companion to my book, You Are Here, a daily companion for living inside change. Each episode is a reflection inspired by one day from the book. We'll spend a few minutes exploring the day together and what it can look like in real life. So let's get going. Today is day 1. You are here, and I am here too. The first page of the companion begins with those 3 simple words, you are here. The first time I wrote them, I thought they were simply like a place to begin the book. But those words, they had been with me for a while before I wrote the companion. After everything that happened over the previous 15 years, the trauma, the illness, and all the physical changes and the changes in my life, I felt like I'd lost myself somewhere inside it all. Around that time, I was tagging my artwork, Santina was here. And then at some point it became Santina is here. It wasn't a bold statement. It was more of a reminder. And sometimes I think a little bit of hope. So when I started building this companion for myself, beginning with You Are Here, it came naturally. At the time I was looking for myself. Now I think of those words as something I continue practicing. They're a starting point, a way to ground myself in where I actually am. Because I notice how easy it is to be somewhere else. Part of me is replaying yesterday. Another part is already living tomorrow. Sometimes I'm imagining a version of myself with more energy or more certainty or more answers. And then without even realizing it, I've left today. But then something small brings me back. Whether it's a breath, or the warmth of the cup of coffee in my hands, or the feeling of my feet on the floor, or sometimes it's just 3 little words. You are here. I think those words mean something different to me now. They're not really telling me to be present. Actually, I don't think they're telling me to do anything. They're just a place to start. Whatever today looks like, this is the day I'm in. The thought on this page on day 1 is I stay. Just 2 words. And I think I understand them differently now too. Staying doesn't mean I have to hold on to a feeling or sit there and study myself. It doesn't mean I have to stay perfectly present all day. For me, it's more about not continually leaving myself for some other version of me. The one from yesterday, or the one I think I should be today, or the one I'm hoping I'll be tomorrow. This one is here. And this is the person I get to spend today with. I think that's one of the things I've come to understand differently since writing this page. We talk a lot about having a relationship with ourselves, self-care and self-trust and knowing ourselves. But relationships are built by spending time together. And that sounds so obvious, but I don't know that I had ever really thought about it in that way. If I want a relationship with myself, I have to spend some time with myself. Not necessarily doing anything, maybe noticing what kind of day I'm having, or maybe paying attention to what I need. Maybe sitting with my coffee for a few minutes before I get moving. Just being with the person whose life I'm actually living. And of course, I'm going to leave again. I'll get distracted. I'll start thinking about tomorrow. I'll replay something from yesterday. I'll get busy with whatever's happening in front of me. That's life. I don't think staying means never leaving. Maybe it's knowing I can come back, and that I don't need some elaborate practice to do it. Sometimes I just need the reminder. You are here. And from here, I can begin again. Maybe that's why these words have stayed with me for so long. They meant one thing when I first needed them. They mean something a little different to me now. And I imagine they may mean something different again in the future. But they still give me a place to begin. Right here. Nothing more is required. It's just a quiet reminder. As you move through this companion, see if you can let those words stay beside you. Thank you for spending this time with me. Until next time, take what works and leave the rest.